The Black Law Students Association of Canada held their annual conference right here in Halifax. But despite many of these students having read and heard about the many legal issues Black communities such as North Preston and Africville have faced over the last several centuries, none of them had ever stepped foot inside a historical Black Canadian community until last weekend, of course, when one of those aspiring lawyers organized an across Canada bus tour and welcomed them to his hometown in North Preston, his parents' hometown rather, and he's here to tell us all about the momentous occasion. I'm so pleased to welcome Brian Provo.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for getting up early and joining us to talk about such an important topic. So you're currently a law student in your final year at the University of Windsor Law School, who I believe partnered with this event. What an undertaking organizing this trip has been. So Black law students from across the country came here to do a tour and learn some history about Canada's oldest and largest Black community. What did that entail exactly?
Well, when I heard that the Black Law Students Association had their annual conferences here in Halifax, I reached out to the conference chair inquiring how I could help. And it's funny because at the same time, they actually reached out to me seeing how they can connect with Halifax's Black communities. Well, I'm born and raised in Toronto. I have strong ancestral roots to the community of North Preston, Nova Scotia, otherwise known as Canada's largest and one of its oldest Black communities. So I immediately started calling on family members in the community to try and make this tour happen. In my head, the tour was originally supposed to be a quick drive through of the community. However, as more students started signing up, the population of the students doubled, and there's a lot of moving parts. I had to that more than what I originally had planned. So we had 3 local historians who were pivotal in the actual first portion of the tour, laying the groundwork, illustrating the narrative of North Preston's untold story. And as we moved through the community, elders from the community and community leaders, they boarded on the bus and they gave students their stories from their past, current challenges within the community that we are now facing, and advice for the future for the students. The students also had the opportunity to get out and take photos in front of our brand new welcome sign that we installed this summer. And they were also provided food from R&B Kitchen, highlighting a local community restaurant. And they're also given customized t-shirts like the one I have on that says 1784 is the date that the first grant of land was given in North Preston by the Crown. And I would also like to thank Balsa Canada, the University of Windsor, Reboot Canada Charity for sponsoring and helping to make this event possible. And lastly, I'd also like to say that while this tour was made for the benefit of the students, it was also my community who benefited from it, and also gave us the opportunity to come together as one community in such a short period of time. And I think we're all known that we are best known for our Southern hospitality that was instilled in us from the time our U.S. ancestors crossed the border to find freedom in Canada.
Yes, and what an incredible moment for your community. I know it's a really tight-knit community, and you said it was so wonderful to see people come out in droves to be there to support this initiative. What do you think it meant to the community of North Preston to have this many people come in? How many law students made their way here to North Preston?
Well, actually, the Saturday of the Black Law Students Conference was probably the most busy, jam-packed day that we had, because we had workshops, seminars, and a closing gala dinner. So we knew right away that it would be a tight schedule and we'd be squeezed somewhere in between our events. So it was originally supposed to be a small 1-hour event with 30 to 50 students. However, as the date neared, we had nearly 100 students and lawyers and many more on the wait list. So in fact, it grew so large that we had to hire a second bus and get 2 more historians and extend the tour 2 hours.
Wow, that's incredible. And so just for a little bit of context here, for more than 200 years, many folks in North Preston have been living on land that's been passed down by their ancestors without clear land title. Of course, they were the Black Loyalists. And so without clear title, they can't get a mortgage, bequeath or sell their land, or have access to housing grants. And this is still happening today, which is an incredible injustice. And so what were the folks that came here? Were they surprised to hear about this?
Yeah. Unfortunately, all that is true. And as I mentioned, I had uncles and aunts and community leaders get onto the bus to explain to the students from their own mouths the generational challenges that the community has been battling with over the past 250 years, which actually predates Canada's Confederation. So, and it's also funny that I'm in a unique position as a law student, sitting in class, listening to professors and guest lecturers reference my community and others such as Africville, where historical wrongs have taken place. And I give credit to my school, the University of Windsor, and its professors for being brave and taking on such politically and racially charged topics. Well, I know the issues myself. I've watched time and time again in class the reactions from students as these issues touch their ears for the first time, and they try to rationalize how such issues could still be prevalent in Canada in 2023. And in my opinion, there are two groups of students that were on the bus. First were the groups of students who have heard of the issues in passing by professors and colleagues, and the second were the first who is their first time to hear of these issues. So no matter the reason for the students joining the tour, their reactions were the same: anger, disgust, and empathy. Matter of fact, when one of my older aunts got on and she was telling her story about North Preston, some of the students on the bus were so emotional they broke out crying. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's devastating and still really unbelievable that people there are still fighting for a clear title. But we thank you. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time today. Brian Provo, thank you so much for joining us, and keep up the amazing work.